everyone to you from wherever you are around the globe. I'm trying to get pumped up for my chores this morning at negative. Oh goodness. I think let me just check and see. It's at 66 degrees here in the worm room, but outside we're running negative 10. Okay, yesterday was negative 14, and the day before that was negative 16. But we're holding good here. We gained a little bit of heat somehow. Maybe that was from having the fan running, but also maybe these heat mats running. It says our population's medium, our castings, not much in there. Low breakdown. Cocoons are low. I fed them. I got a high moisture here and a fire hazard. So hopefully, I really don't know why I would have this fire hazard. I'm learning new ways to keep my bins. So I'm going to guess it may be the fact that I added all that food last time that I didn't know if it was going to heat up. Welcome to the microbial farm. We are in the vermiculture room, which we also have the wormiculture, which is what I call the mealworms. Here's a little tidbit on the mealworms that I have advanced. I figured out that a large breed chicken needs 10 mealworms. Or 12. No, I think it's 10, and then the smaller breed may need 5. So I went, counted my chickens, weighed out my mealworms, and I have these little tubs, and so for the full week, I've already got my mealworms measured out and resting on the shelf so that I can take them out with me. I wear a uniform. I'll have to talk to you about my uniforms. And they're all black because of the amount of dirt that I always have on myself so I don't look filthy. It's black. I'm tricky, aren't I? So I've ordered these sweatshirts, which I absolutely love. I'm going to have to do a video just on those. And the pouch is in front, and those little tubs fit right in the pouch. Anyway, if you're like me and you've got to be carrying a lot of things around when you're doing chores, those pouches come in handy. So our food source is pretty well used up. I don't know that I want to turn that in, but I might. So what I'll do is I'll take the top bedding and I'll sprinkle it around here. And I can't wait to get into this bin to see how this went. The cardboard has really soaked up some moisture. So I feel like, okay, last week was the first week that we started to add that base. And so the first week we did not, and I think what happened, all that moisture went into the bedding, and we added a lot of moisture that way. I mean, it really increased the beddings. Oh, I see a worm. So they've got little tunnels down here. And I see cocoons kind of up here towards the top. I feel some heat. So maybe they're up top because it's hot in this bin, which is reminding me to get out my handy dandy trusty little and I'm thinking that these just have a low grade deep composition going on because I have that thermostat turned down, so it should not be running at all. Let me feel if it's running. No. Well, they feel warm, but they don't feel hot. So I can't tell if these bins are actually composting a little, and that is what's causing. So see how that Cocoa Core peat on the top just wants to mat like crazy? Okay, well, I've got some of this cardboard shreds, which is helping. mix that up a little, but let's dig into the center. There is some food in there, and it does feel warm. 75. So maybe this bedding really feels good. Breaking up pretty good. Oof, I must really add a lot of stuff to it. Yeah. We've got some worms. They're down in that leaf section, kind of sort of like. But the bedding is breaking up a lot better. And maybe that's due to the moisture levels being a little drier. Not a zillion percent sure, but I'm going to go ahead and move some of them over here. There's a tomato in there. And I feel like though, oh boy, this feels really good in the middle, but everywhere else, maybe if I mix in those leaves, are we going to get a little too dry? Or does mixing it in help to get them a little wet, moist, and get the worms to be able to eat them, break them down? I mean, there's so many questions to this. Get a very, very small farm going. Play around with different substrates and see what you can learn about each substrate. I really don't think there's something online that I can go to and see the qualities when talking, you know, vermiculture substrate. I don't think there's anywhere I can go that I can say, look up Coco Coir, and these are its qualities and properties when analyzed in a vermicomposting setting. I don't think that science has been done yet. Maybe somebody could get that out to the local college and get some of those new scientists working on just substrate quality. What happens when it's mixed with different leaves, what happens when it's mixed with Coco Coir, what happens if it's mixed with yada yada yada. You see what I'm saying? Man, we need a whole school and college just for figuring out vermiculture. Here. Okay, I'm liking the way this is mixing. I'm liking, I think, the moisture level with the leaves mixed in. I'm wondering if maybe because we have a dark blue bead on it right now, we're going to be able to change that definitely down to a meaty. And because I don't know enough about substrate, this may even be a lighter, needing to be a lighter blue. We have babies in here. There are cocoons in here. This one's making me pretty darn happy. And I think by the time I get it moved back here, I'll be even more happy. Once I get them all mixed in together, I'm seeing most of these leaves on the bottom have gotten extremely moistened. They're not too dry. Now, these little leaves, they don't have much of a spine to them. But what I'm finding is my bigger leaves, oh shoot, I just squished that tomato and I didn't keep it under. So there's tomato, just got all over me. That's okay. Like let's use a sugar maple leaf for example. It's got a good spine down the center of it. I think those spines really help to keep a good fluffy soil that does not get too compacted. I'm going to make a note on this bin, and I need to start checking to see if I have notes and see if how well I like this bin next week. I think these leaves will have broken down more, and the moisture is going to be good. I don't feel like I want to lose any moisture out of this bin at all, so we are going to put the lid back on. So that may just be something that I continually have to do. Lids on and off, lids on and off. Oh, that's okay for right now, I suppose, till I get more savvy. All I'm going to do is, like I have been doing, just roll them up and put them on the top. If I need more moisture to escape. Very, very, very happy with the way this is looking. We got a lot of cocoons in here, and we got good porosity in this bin. We got young ones, so we have had a hatch. So we've made it at least through all those stages. Look at, I'm giving myself these positive check marks, thumbs ups, whatever you want to call them. I like that. See how moist that was on those leaves? Okay, and I'm just adding that back into the substrate. Okay, so for now, that's perfect because my substrate seems to be a little bit on the perfect side as far as moisture goes, but I see there are some drier leaves in here yet, so they're going to be able to absorb some, while these others that are a little more moist can start breaking down and releasing their moisture. What a dance! Holy moly. I guess I should be dancing. I'm here making this music fine-tuning this system. So I think I'm spending about 2 hours every morning. It's probably more since I'm doing the videos and things. That when I really got to cut time and just need to come in and get these fed and move on, I mean, I could probably do these towers in 2 hours. But right now I'm just sitting to taking more time doing observation. The main things you need to do are observation and investigation, okay? We're not doing research because we don't want to have to make sure we're following all those laws on vertebrates and invertebrates and who you can research on this and that and whatever. This is just an investigation that we're performing here on substrates for these worms. I don't think there are any laws for worms. I remember in college I did a worm study, and we had to sit down and make sure, and I remember the teacher saying, well, since you're going to do your study on something that's not a vertebrate, meaning it has a skeleton, I guess they might have more of a neurological system, so we have to worry about, something that has a neurological system, and, can they think, or maybe, I don't know, I'm not really 100% sure. But anyway, that was something I learned there. There are laws to all your research that you're performing. So I'm seeing that a lot of these are a little bit drier, and obviously I thought that I got a pretty good blend between top and bottom layer, but that might have been a little more of the top layer. So as I add, I'm mixing this a little more to get some of the bottom layer mixed in with the top layer a little better, because I'm seeing they're a little drier. Now you don't particularly want the dryer on top, but on the bottom, so that as gravity forces that water down, or the magnetic pulling of the center of the earth, whichever it is, the water it'll be drier in the bottom and not the top. Don't want it drier in the top right now. And now that I've fluffed this up, it's probably not going to fit. Oh my, but I love it. I think it's a beautiful blend. Very aerobic here now. It's got a really good porosity going on. I'm definitely going to cover this so I don't lose too much moisture. I feel like I'm getting somewhere now that I'm seeing, but beret. This tower last week, we put all those leaves on the top to see if an extreme amount of leaves would help us with our moisture level, and obviously it did, so we can take note of that. The other thing in the future that I plan on using a lot more is the wool. I'm going to use the wool to get that moisture absorbed, and then it will retain the moisture until the funguses get it broken down. I was just introduced to wool pellets. Holy moly, everybody. I knew the wool industry was going to take off like you wouldn't believe. But you go ahead and watch some videos or Google wool pellets. Thankfully, I was smart enough to take several trips into town when I had a company that gifted me 25,000 pounds of raw wool. All I knew was when somebody texted me and asked me if I wanted it. You're darn right I do. I didn't even know what I was going to do with it. I already had so much wool. I needed a hole in my head more than I needed more wool. I did it. I went and got it all. Then I learned about this it's hard to say, pelletized wool. Oh, the ice just fell off and how much nitrogen is in it and what it can do for your plants and your soil. So, oh my gosh. I'm going to go ahead and compost it. I'm not worrying about it for the amount of, they're saying that, it'll last in the soil for like a couple years, these pellets, when you put them on, and it'll hold the moisture and then have moisture there for your plants. Well, I'm going to tell you, when you put wool in a composting bin, you're lucky to have it last you a couple weeks. These microbes, I don't know if I'm fungal dominant here or what. I need to run an assessment. I have not. I'll be honest with you. I do not like doing those assessments. I do not like sitting at that microscope. I'm more of a hands-on person. Doer, you know what I mean? I want to be out in the field and working. Okay? The rest of everybody else, you know that. 2 people out in the field, and then one day one will just be missing. Well, we need those guys at the computers and at the microscopes doing all the. I'm going to go ahead and add my regular coffee in here. This looks nice and moist. I think the coffee grind is going to give them a good grit. This is going to add more nitrogen to my what do you call this? Darn it. My amendments. What else is this? Good grit, amendments. And then it is going to soak up some of the moisture from the pumpkin. I'll give them some lovely eggshells, which I know they love. And it's going to add some calcium to my amendments. This is just reclaimed calcium from eggshells that people are just, you know what, they like to help and support the cause. So they collect those up for me. And then one day, once I get a lot collected, I just manually kind of crush them nice with the, I probably should have given these guys a little bit more. But then again, I don't think I gave them a huge amount the last time. So I'm going to kind of tuck it over this. So I may do it this way instead of just putting it right on the top in the future. We'll see. Haven't done it this way, so we're doing it this way now, and we'll see what it ends up turning up for the worms. They like it. Buried a little better or not. And then I'm going to put some of my rough ground up leaves on top. And then every week, I think we will just maybe turn them in. Even though I think, remember, I'm trying not to add more and more bedding because look at this. It is loaded. So probably what I'm going to have to do, I brought in those tanks. I've got a 3rd tank out there. I got a 4th tank even at the farm I'm not using. And so I can get some nursery bins started. Because this learning process kind of got, push kind of came to shove when it got too wet in these and forced me to add more and more bedding to dry it out before I ended up getting smart and removing the lid. I didn't want to do that. But I succumbed to it, and now I know that I can, so happy there. And then let's put we can put our lid back on and feel like we have accomplished something. I'm going to make a note here that love and I added tons of leaves. So, maybe next week I'll be like, not such a good idea. Alright, I'm going to take off the fire bead because I'm not seeing, it went up to about 80, so if it was a issue with the heating up because of, I'm going with a medium moisture bead on this one. If it was a heat up because of the food source, not too worried about that. I'm going with a lower population. This is not crazy populated. And it's not a new grower bin, so yellow is the new grower bin. Casting's pretty low. It seems like mostly cocoa, corn, peat. Cocoons are low. So, okay. That one's been ranked. I'm glad I remembered. And we are ready for bin number 4. Stay tuned. We are going to get through this today.